Well, if you're a regular viewer of The Blend, you may remember over the last couple months that we had a new business called Preventative Diagnostics on the show. They offer a very advanced screening here in the Valley, and we're going to touch base with how things are going for them right now.
Absolutely. John Pierce, Dr. John Pierce, he's here, medical director with Preventative Diagnostic Center, and joining us now with more. And it's great to have you again from a distance, but still here. How are you, buddy?
A little bit of a distance, but good afternoon. I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
So let's talk about this because really your technology is amazing. It's something that I've always thought should just be the rule. When you go in for a checkup, it would be nice if they could check everything like they do with the car, the 108 multi-point inspection. This is essentially what you do. You're able to kind of check the things that we can't see visually to see how we do. Tell us what this test can and the scan can detect.
Well, as we discussed before, the idea behind the technology is we want to try to get the most accurate images with the lowest amount of exposure possible. So we're able to basically look at all organ systems, basically from the base of the neck, the thyroid, right on down through the pelvis. So, that's where all the vital organs are. So we can look at the heart and we can do a heart scan to look at coronary artery calcium scores. We can look at the lungs and we can get really detailed imaging of the lungs and see if there's any scarring or any other issues with the lungs. Yeah. Look at the spleen and the kidneys and the liver, and we can detect things down to the size of about a grain of rice if there's any abnormalities.
And you can do so because you're using this very advanced technology. I believe the machine you have, which, by the way, I have been in, is one of its kind in Nevada. But tell us about the actual technology.
Well, the technology it's Siemens is the company that makes it, and the name of the product is a Somatom Go All Pro. And so the idea behind this particular CT scanner is that it actually takes into account the individual patient, and it doses the minimal amount of radiation to get the most visualization and the most detail for their scan. Yeah. Right. So it's not a one size fits all. So if you're a smaller person, you get a little less radiation than a larger size person, but it's the minimal effective dose. And no other technology, to my knowledge, has that. Everybody gets a standard dose. And I think that's very, very unique and individualized.
It really is a remarkable piece of machinery and something that is pretty exclusive to you. It's not like you can go to any place in Vegas and get this.
Heck, as JJ said, it can't be done anywhere in the state. I think the closest one, to my knowledge, was up in Palo Alto. So you got to head all the way up to Northern California.
So once the scan is done, we get this data. Who gets it? Who looks at it? And how long until we're notified of the results?
So we send it off to our board certified radiologist. He's probably got at least 30, probably 40 years of radiology experience here in town. He goes through it with a fine tooth comb. He generates a report, and then the report comes back to us. Now, if that report is absolutely normal, we'll just send that on to the patient. If there's any abnormalities that need to be discussed with the patient, that's when I step in, I make that phone call and explain to them what some of these terminologies mean, and if it's something that needs to be addressed immediately, either with their primary care doctor or cardiologist. Some of the times that we get some abnormalities in some of the imaging in the lungs, the radiologist will say, hey, I need another scan in 3 to 6 months, because the way I read it is he looks at it as it's really not that big of a concern, but I don't want to ignore it. So let's get another scan and see if something's changed, right? And sometimes that's out to 18 months. But that's a beautiful thing to have. Yeah, I know there's something there, but somebody's on it. We're going to relook at that in a short amount of time, and then it's going to give us a lot more information on that. And if that something happens to have grown, now we're catching it early. And that's the key for anything, and up to and most worrisome in a lot of cases is cancer. And the earlier you can catch a cancer, the earlier the intervention is, the greater your survival is. And it's nearly exponential, but
Absolutely. I mean, we hear that over and over again. Early detection is key, doctor, and you're helping people take their health into their own hands. We've actually run out of time, but really quick, I just want to touch on who is the ideal candidate to come in for the scan, who can benefit the most.
Well, typically we're looking at patients that are about 70 years old and moving forward in our practice, but we have a mandate that we want you at least to be 40 years old and kind of moving forward. And that's kind of at the midlife crisis or midlife change for a lot of women and men. We start to, decline a little bit after age 40. That's when disease processes really start to take hold. And so we can catch things very, very early and hopefully nip it in the bud.
Awesome. And really quickly, you're offering a special $125 for a heart scan and a calcium score. Explain
Wow.
what that'll bring us.
So that'll get you that heart scan and that calcium score. And that calcium score is a pretty good indicator of plaque buildup in the coronary arteries. And so we've had a patient on here before. We've had actually a couple of patients, and we've had one who incidentally found that high calcium score, went to a cardiologist, and they went and found that blockage and put a stent in her and basically saved her life long before she suffered the consequences, which would have been a massive heart attack that may have taken her life.
Powerful stuff.
That's right. Dr. John, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. You want to learn more? pdcenterlv.com. You can call the number on your screen as well. Take advantage of that heart scan and calcium score. Only $125. Get a call today, though. And Preventative Diagnostic Center, proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.